Brussels pate. Have you heard of Brussels
What
pate?
a breakfast. Yes, I've heard of Brussels pate. Of course I've. We never heard of Brussels pate. I mean, it was sort of... I think it's kind of a mixture of pate, isn't it? It's like a blended whiskey, isn't it?
It's like a sort of, you know what I mean, like the offal.
What are we going to do with that, Dave? Stick it in the old Brussels bucket. We'll knock that out in the Tesco's,
The prophecy has been fulfilled. His arrival has been awaited by monarchs and soothsayers. At last he hath come and padlocked his racer to a lamppost outside Londis. It is, of course, Paul Whitehouse.
Paul Whitehouse, it's so nice to have
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was me racer? Got Campagnolia gears?
Oh, so you do know your racing.
What?
Did you have a racer?
No, not really. I mean, you have picked the person with the single least interest in cars and modes of transport.
But when you were a kid, did you not have a push bike?
Of course I did, yeah.
Well, what was it then? Come on.
Well, it was just a little rally bike, you know.
Maybe
and then I never made the leap to racer. I was obsessed with them at the time, you know, when I was a kid. And can I say that Peter Grimes broke Mickey Graham's gears on his racer?
Peter Grimes from the Benjamin Britten opera.
Well, close, except he was a little criminal. And Mickey Graham tried to kill him for years afterwards.
All because of just that incident with the bicycle.
Yeah, and Peter Grimes did grow up to be a full-on proper criminal.
Was it really?
Gripper Grimes. What's the score? Grip 3-0, my son. That's what you had to say to Gripper. What's the score then? Grip 3-0, my son.
What was the 3-0 referring to?
I don't know.
Did he ever watch football or?
We didn't really talk about football.
No.
But that was how you had to greet him. And then, I mean, he did die.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
In criminal activities?
Yeah, he was in a stolen car with Robbie Raymond, and they drove into a lamppost. I think that was the end of Peter Grimes.
In pursuit?
Yeah, I think, it was a very naughty boy. It was a naughty boy, but Mickey Graham would have destroyed him. And Mickey Graham was black in an area that was, at the time, very white. Now it's not, it's very mixed, but at the time, they were at our school, you know. They were the only black family.
So Mickey Graham was your mate?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Yeah.
And his brother Stephen was my close mate, and he was a skinhead, Stephen. Had short hair, Ben Sherman's, you know, Crombies.
What were you skinhead?
Yeah, not really. I wasn't a very good one.
No. Were you listening to the reggae music?
No, not really, no. No, I liked ska, but I never really got into like deep reggae.
I mean, what a journey that is growing up.
Isn't it?
Let's face it, you know.
Do you know who I feel most sorry for?
Who's that?
Just ordinary people growing up and having to deal with the
Growing
difficulties
up.
of life.
Yes.
A little bit of loneliness here.
Yeah.
You know, perhaps a misshapen knee there.
Yeah. Because,
you know.
Because people hadn't done that before, had they? You were very much one of the first, weren't you?
So though, you know, life can be very cruel, even though it seems to be tripping along in gentle suburbia. Yeah. There's horrors around every corner, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, you should know more than most. I don't know why I said that.
I don't know why either. But I'll take it from you, Jim.
I was thinking of you and Bob fishing.
horrors around the corner.
I walked round a bush and there he was.
I was out once watching some bloke fishing, and I think it might have been Elton John. It looked like him. Well, he pulled out a rusty bicycle on the end of his fishing line. That, of course, is fiction. But would that really ever happen? Could you pull out a rusty bike on the end of your fishing line?
Are we talking rhyming slang here?
No.
Oh, right.
Could I apologise?
I'm trying to work out what that might be.
Could I apologise for the line of my colleague's questioning here?
Yes, thank you. It does seem a little bit like an interrogation.
A little bit loaded.
Yeah.
First of all, let's break it down into sections here. Because the programmes you did with Bob Fishing were the most relaxing programmes.
Too relaxing almost?
No, so relaxing it made me feel happier, and it was like treacle pudding. It was lovely. I loved it. But would you think it would be likely, whilst you were fishing, first of all, ever to see, as my client says, Elton John?
Well, I think I'm glad you put it as your client, but
so colleague, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I think if we saw him on the riverbank or by the lake, he'd probably use Reg Dwight, wouldn't he? He wouldn't. I don't think he'd be Elton John. He'd probably be
written on his back.
Yeah. Sponsored by, wouldn't he? And then on his fishing cap.
Now, here's a fishing story. My only fishing story that I've got. When I was about 14, I used to go fishing like everyone, and then I gave up. But I used
probably
to go...
wise, Jim, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wish I had.
I went with a small gang of us, and one of them brought along his brother. So we had pans that we were going to cook our beans in and things like that. And so this lad says, I really need a dump. I'm going off into the woods. So he goes off, we carry on fishing, and he comes back and I said, did you manage it all right? And then he says, yeah. I said, where did you go? And he says, oh, I went in the woods. He said, but it's not there anymore. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, there it is in the river. And he'd had a dump in our pan that we were going to cook our beans in, and then put it afloat on the river, and it was sailing past us.
Oh, hopeless friend.
Did you give it a salute or sort of wave it off?
Well, I suppose we thought it was hilarious at first, and then it turned to complete horror as we realised we had nothing to cook our beans in.
Was that the only Why did he take that with him? Why didn't he spot that?
Who knows? That was his, in his mind.
And that was the only bean receptacle you had?
He had to do it in something.
Do you want me to enlighten you about defecating in the woods?
Yes,
obviously, which you have to do sometimes when you're fishing.
Yes,
which again makes it less and less attractive to me, because I do like a toilet.
Yeah, I think most of us do.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
I mean, there will be the listener that is actually...
No, I'm fine. Give me a spade, please, I'll go out by the fir tree.
Anyway, so what are the keys to when we're in the wilds?
I mean, I don't want to be too graphic about this, because I know that's not the nature of this podcast, but one of the problems you have, especially if you're wearing waders, is getting enough distance between the orifice and the trouser.
Yeah.
Yes,
because otherwise, you know what I'm saying.
Yes, a disaster.
It's back again. So one way around this is to find a nice branch, good height, about 5 feet off the ground, say, so that you can sort of hang and keep your legs out. You know what I mean, don't you, Jim?
Yeah.
Be careful when you get back down then.
I don't know if I can believe this.
It's absolutely true.
It's like leaning back aspect, is it? Yeah. But do you find that a particular fisherman's haunt, there's a branch that is now worn, quite shiny because of fishermen who... And then beneath it, very fertile, with a beautiful crop of daffodils.
Wild flowers everywhere.
Do you like travelling? Do you like going away?
No, I don't. I've had a motto for a long time. Long before lockdown, my motto has been, don't go anywhere. Yeah. I nearly got my motto wrong there.
Yeah.
But why go anywhere? Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Is that Latin, or why go anywhere? Don't go anywhere? No, that is good.
No, it's not a bad motto, is it?
Yeah.
And of course, it came true, didn't it? Really,
for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just you. So
but I do have one memorable journey from my childhood.
Yep.
It's quite a good one.
Where did you go?
Well, my mum was a singer, and she came from the Rhondda Valley, and my dad did as well. They both came from 2 parts of the Rhondda Valley. But anyway, she learnt to sing. My mum came from, as I say, not being prolier than now, but a very, sort of staunch mining background. And her mum took her out of school at 14, went to work in a chemist, but she'd played the piano and she sang in a choir, like a lot of people do in Wales. And is it a patron? The M&S, the Seifert family. They were sort of benevolent. Is that right? Patrons? Yeah, Marks and Spencer, Seifert, Lady Seifert or something. Anyway, this is what she tells me. She can't tell me anymore because she don't remember who I am. But she heard her sing and paid for her to have singing lessons.
Oh,
and she became a soprano for Welsh National Opera.
Oh,
and they toured Germany. East Germany. And so when I was 10, 11, we drove across Europe, right in the height of the Cold War, across my dad, and he had a gold Zodiac. It was not really like my dad at all. But you know how everyone went a little bit flashy in the 70s? Do you know what I mean?
Which Zodiac?
The flare and an orange sofa.
Yeah, but which was it? The last model Zodiac with all of the lights across the back with the aircraft carrier bonnet, or
it certainly had those big fins on it. Fairly big fins. It was gold metallic, second hand, but it was automatic. It was like very glamorous at the time. It felt like it anyway. And he drove it across Holland. Germany, East Germany. We went right into East Germany. Yeah. and me and my sister.
What an adventure. And where did you...
it's brilliant because, of course, you hit the autobahn, you can go 100 mile an hour, and it could. It was. I remember it now vividly. The excitement, the thrill of a car going 100 miles an hour plus, on the autobahns.
So there's the 4 of you in the car.
Yeah.
You get the ferry, presumably, do you?
Yeah, all our holidays were ferry because we only ever went to like Ireland because my dad's family originally came from there, so that was quite good as well.
But just going back to your Cold War exploits.
Yes.
So you're...
We went through. I sort of heard this. I might have glamorised it as Checkpoint Charlie, with a lot of East German soldiers, sort of taking the car apart, laughing at it. Because it was, I mean, you can imagine it, everyone drove a Lada, didn't they?
Yeah.
A little white Lada, and along comes this, symbol of decadent capitalism.
Yeah, and a great name as well.
Yeah.
Das Ford Zodiac.
Das Ford Zodiac, or Der Ford Zodiac.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they sort of, they mocked us a bit, and they
how did they mock you? Because of your flashy car?
Yeah, because that flashy
and your flares.
car, and their flares, exactly.
And you didn't say, well, I don't know what you're laughing at, because you've only got a Lada and straight trousers.
Little did we know that punk was only round the corner.
Yeah.
And they'd be laughing on the right side of the...
Yeah, there we are.
So anyway, your mum was singing in like big opera houses.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not massive, but
we
ended up in Potsdam, and we stayed with the interpreter. Her dad was a scientist.
Hello.
A scientist.
Oh yeah.
Right? And he has invented nylon also.
Yeah.
Yes. And they had a house that, to us was like something from Hampstead, which was like, a huge open plan house, cigarettes. People used to have fags available in a little pot.
The rich did.
Yeah.
Just help yourself.
And you just help yourself to a fag.
In a specially designed dispenser.
Yeah, and they had duvets. We didn't know what they were. Duvets. They used to bath every day.
But this is all
my sister, I remember saying, it's great having a shower every day, isn't it, or a bath, because it means you don't get cheesy feet. And she's right, isn't she?
She is right.
So you're saying that your experience, you'd gone behind the Iron Curtain, where everybody's like sort of having a hard time. In fact, they're living this glamorous lifestyle.
Well, they were, certainly.
Yeah, so they...
I mean, East Berlin still was a mess, though. I mean, it was just rubble.
Still
bomb sites everywhere, yeah. It was an incredible thing to do. I always think, really, hats off to me dad,
For driving all that way.
Yeah, in a gold Zodiac.
Perfect car for it. But had you been, as an example, playing on bomb sites in London, and then did you then play on the Berlin bomb sites, and have you got any comparatives that you could use?
We didn't really have many bomb sites around us in Enfield. We did have a shelter at the bottom of our garden, though. An old shelter, We never got into it, but...
An Anderson?
I don't know, it was dug in, We never got in there. It might have just been a bit of old concrete. Someone said that was an air raid shelter.
By the Royal Enfield factory.
Yeah.
And they make munitions in there.
Yeah, they did.
So they wouldn't want to bomb you around there.
No, that's true. You would have thought that would have been a target, but I don't think it was ever hit or even... It must have been targeted, mustn't it?
Yeah, I would think so.
Apparently there's big sort of tanks and stuff around there, like ancient tanks, where they test out some of the munitions. But we never found that. We even on, when we would go fishing and then we'd go on manoeuvres, and try and get into places that you're not allowed to get into.
Well, is that what you do?
Yeah, well, when you're a kid, you do, don't you?
Oh, not now.
No, I wouldn't do it now, Jim.
No. Nowadays, I think
try and scale a fence.
Do you not go fishing in illegal places?
Not anymore.
But going back to is your cold, I had no idea about you're one of the few people that we have had on the show that's had immediately close-hand experience of Cold War. East Berlin. It's gone to stay with people that are clearly part of the establishment because they've got this great big comfortable house.
And round the corner was a shop that sold, I can remember it now, this Apfelsaft, apple juice. And I remember it as being the finest tasting apple juice I'd ever had. But of course, it's legacy of Germany and they do get a lot of things right there, don't they? So even... In East Germany, do you think that...
Well, in communist East Germany...
Well, I don't know.
Doesn't sound too bad now, really, does it?
Well, you're painting it, yeah.
Well, I can only speak from my experience.
Yes.
As I say, I did see a lot of buildings that were still in a state of disarray and disrepair. Nothing like, London. I know, obviously, the bomb sites were sort of cornered off and kept out of public view, but there were, huge areas of devastation in public buildings with... Yeah, it's a long time ago. I caught a bream in a lake there as well. I took some fishing gear and I caught a bream.
So it was worthwhile.
So they had bream as well.
A Cold War fish.
I tell you, I did go to Russia, I went fishing in a place on the Kola Peninsula. It used to be a military zone, and it's got these amazing salmon rivers that run into the Arctic Sea. It's the bit of Russia that's next to Finland.
Yep.
And so it was heavily militarised, and you fly to Murmansk.
Which is where?
In the top of the Kola Peninsula in Russia.
Yep.
It sounds like one of those wartime ports, and it's because it is. And then we got a military helicopter, that took you down into the wilderness, tundra, and you camped on the river.
Oh.
I know, it's incredible.
So what, you went there for fun?
Yeah, for fun, yeah. It was early days, and they were opening this place up, because it had just been
So you organised the helicopter and everything?
No, I didn't.
Who did that then?
One of the local commissariat is probably still, the Cold War was barely over. Gorbachev's hair had probably, just started to go. and that's when we went, yeah. God. The guy shot a dog in the camp. That's how, hardcore it was.
For what purpose?
It was annoying him.
Really?
No,
I should kill. I don't like... like that, yeah. Always frontier life.
Cool,
it really was frontier life.
But later on, and just thinking this, when you were in the death of Stalin, you must have based part of your performance on your early experiences.
No, I just did my accent, and he was a bit of a mod, I think. My guy,
yeah.
Really. Apparently, he had his suits made in Italy, and he was. I can't even remember his name now. That's pretty poor.
Why was it based on reality?
Some reality, a version of reality, yeah. I did anything that Armando Iannucci said, but he didn't tell me to do anything, so I was in a bit of a vacuum, really.
Do you remember when, in the olden days, I was just showing you a picture earlier on,
yes.
When we played Slade?
I remember it very well, Jim.
And we used to go around, do you remember what car we used to go around in?
Wasn't it a VW?
No, it was a Hillman Imp.
Ah, of course it was. Why would you drive if you're in Slade, why would you drive a VW?
No, because the way we played them it was like a family.
Yeah.
I was the dad, Bob was the mum, who was Dave Hill, and you
we were the two brothers, yeah.
So I thought, what car, if it was a little family from Birmingham, what would they got? And it was a Hillman Imp.
Of course it
and that was
been.
a gold Hillman Imp.
Gold Hillman Imp?
Yeah.
Oh. Isn't it weird? I can't remember that, and I've watched it.
But it seems gold cars seem to be sort of part of your. This is a thread going.
Are there many gold cars around these?
I don't think so. No, it's not.
I don't see so many. But you've got a very inconspicuous car parked outside, haven't you?
Well, I've got my Auburn Boattail Speedster, brackets 1934, parked outside. It's a bit of a notice box, yes. But you've got to sort of exercise it, or it doesn't work. It's the worst thing you can do. If you don't use the cars, then that's there. The brakes seize up. And
why is that then? Can you explain why that happens?
They're like people.
Are they really?
People need exercise. They need a bit of loving care. A little bit of thought sometimes. Just a hello sometimes.
But we're living, breathing creatures. That's not.
I've got a large collection of watches which need exercising.
Yeah.
They need winding up and taking out.
And a little bit of care, perhaps a little stroke.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of watches like that. I don't.
You're not wearing a watch today, though.
No, I've got a mobile phone, and I just check that for the time.
I see.
Yeah. I know. Sorry, it's not.
No, I just wondered. Because some people apparently David Cameron doesn't wear a watch.
Why is that?
Well, good
I
question.
thought you were going to do some political humour there.
No.
Oh,
Just he doesn't wear a watch.
Where's Ben Elton when you need him, eh?
Yeah.
What's that old joke? People say, what time is it? I can't remember it now.
Time you got to watch, isn't it?
That's the one, isn't it? Yeah. And what have you got a match?
My face. No,
that's it. Yeah,
you always get it the wrong way.
You get it the wrong way round, don't you?
Always.
My face and your ass.
Yeah. Always.
And
why do you always get it the wrong way round?
Yeah, always.
As two professionals, as your car, could you just do it once the right way round for the people at home?
Yeah. Have you got a match?
Yeah, your face, my ass. It's funnier the other way round, isn't it?
It's miles funny, isn't it? Has anyone ever approached you to have the Whitehouse fishing rod?
Well,
the Whitehouse special.
The CEO of... What's CEO stand for? Chief Executive Officer.
I thought it was. Oh, is it? Yeah. So is it? Oh, yeah.
What did you think it was?
No, I didn't know. I thought it might be chairman, but I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Right.
Cheerful.
It's a bit of a mouth.
Cheerful executive officer.
They're of Sportfish, which is a sort of mail order, more sort of fly fishing stuff. I asked if me and Bob would help launch their spring.
Really?
So, yeah, but they didn't offer us any money, so we said no.
Oh.
But
well, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair's fair.
Yeah.
So
no, we've been offered the odd bit of, if you want some gear to, like...
But they wouldn't want to... You can't get your name on it. Huh? You can't get your name on it on something.
Well, we could launch our own, couldn't we?
Fishing. I'll tell you what, the portable branch that you can lean against.
No, that's a good one.
Get
Jim.
the Whitehouse.
That is a very Jim.
Yes.
That is a good one. You get a cut on that.
Urge.
But there's a lot of people making a lot of money since our show's been on. Bob looked at the sales of angling direct. He said it was going down. And since we started going fishing again,
there you are. You see, you're the people they want.
I think Jim's portable branch.
Yeah. So all it is really is...
How do you fix it?
The shitting branch. It's a frame, a small frame, like
it's got to be extendable for the size of the angler involved.
An A-frame.
Telescopic.
Yes, that's what I meant. Sorry, telescopic. How do you affix it to...
No, it's freestanding. It's A-frame, like a tent.
It'd have to be
with a beam in between.
Right.
So you're out fishing and so pass me the Whitehouse.
And then, so if there's no tree, if you're in a sort of treeless area fishing,
you can attach
no
it to
branch.
the
You just, as Jim said, it's got an A-frame and you're away.
Attach it to the side of the person's room that you're in.
I certainly think we should put some feelers out.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. Is there some sort of fishing manufacturer? Well, it's probably not. Is it? It's maybe camping.
There's a crossover though, isn't there?
Yeah. Do you like camping? You enjoy?
No, I'm not a very good camper. No.
But you went in Russia where they shot the dog.
Yeah, we did, and they had 2-man tents in there, and you had to have a fire going all night, and
to keep wild animals away.
Well, because it was cold, Jim.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
When was the first time you had a camping experience?
Oh, I remember going camping with the Cubs. And so you lived in Enfield for a while?
Well, I went to a school there for 5 minutes. Spicer, something Spicer.
Oh yeah, I think I know that. Yeah, Spicer. Yeah, it sounds familiar.
George Spicer.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
The vinegar heiress or the vinegar company, Spicer's Vinegars.
Wouldn't it be nice to be a vinegar heiress? Wake up one day and realise you're worth bloody millions.
Millions,
through no effort.
Vinegar millions.
But it's the vinegar millions. Anyway, we went camping in a place only round the corner from my mum's house, 40 Hall.
Oh, yeah.
So I could go home, really.
Did you?
It'd take me about half an hour. Yeah, by day 2 I'd had enough.
Yeah.
I like to cooking beans and a burnt sausage. I still like a burnt sausage. If I'm going to have a sausage, which is very rare, it better be burnt.
It's very bad for you.
What, burnt
sausage or burnt? Both.
Burnt food's very bad for you.
Burnt food is very bad for you, and sausage is very bad for you, really, isn't it?
Is it? Are they really bad?
Pretty bad, Jim.
So I suppose if you had a burnt sausage and a bit of burnt toast,
you're in
washed
trouble.
Down by a bottle of cognac, that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, that sounds great though, doesn't it?
Especially if you were camping.
You'd kill for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think I've really been that keen on camping. I did go to the Cubs.
We're back to the lavatory area as well.
Yeah, it's all.
I know. I didn't mean it to be lavatorial, but we are talking outdoors. Yeah. We're outdoorsmen for the purposes of this discussion, aren't we?
You're talking get out of your comfort zone, and I'm saying, well, why is that then?
Jim, I sort of see you as fairly intrepid, or at least you go out with lots of good intentions.
Yeah. But no, I'm always outdoors. But camping, I did it when I was younger, and I'm not doing that again. No. Me and my mate, when we were about 20, got stranded on the Isle of Wight, and we couldn't get to it. We had a tent. But
stranded?
We got there late. I think we might have gone to the pub, and then it was too late to go to a campsite. So we got underneath a fisherman's boat, a small rowing boat.
Oh, had Dickensian.
Yeah. And we got under it and went to sleep. And then
did you sleep though?
Well, yeah, we'd had some beer, so it made made the whole process a lot easier. On the hard ground.
That was the finest night's sleep I'd ever had.
Then at 4:30, the fisherman lifted the boat up to reveal us, like 2 boys startled underneath his boat. So we got up and ran off, as he would do.
What did he say? What was his utterance?
I really can't remember. I just remember him lifting the bright light and his shadow, the sun behind him, and just his husky shadow.
Yeah. Where did you run to?
Ventnor.
Safety. Oh, Ventnor.
And here's a message from our sponsors.
Please don't shoot me. You got what you came for. What else do you want? Please. I have a wife and 2 small chilled drinks waiting for me in the bar.
Baby shams?
You bet.
Who are the Beatles of the fishing world?
The Beatles of the fishing world would be, I suppose you'd have to go with...
Probably you and Bob.
Yeah, Me and Bob.
You're the Simon and Garfunkel of the fishing.
I'm Lennon, he's McCartney.
Or the Chocolate Brothers.
Yeah, we'll go with Simon and Garfunkel and leave it there. Isaac Walton, who was the sort of the godfather of fishing, he wrote The Complete Angler in the 17th century.
Is that any good?
It is actually. Honestly, it's got a nice turn of phrase, and it's quite interesting it's more about attitude and, lifestyle, really. What
does he suggest then?
Well, he suggests go gentle and be quiet by the waterside and stealth and, involve yourself in your surroundings.
I could have told you that.
I like your turn of phrase, though. He does it with a gentleness, Jim. Yeah, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to knock that into you, son.
But really, so he's talking about it like almost from a Zen type of
well, there is a lot
attitude of like it's just being in a place. Paradise is now. This moment I'm in. I just got to be in a part of one with it. The cosmology of where I am.
I mean, we try and put that across in our show a little bit, but of course, there's a wide range of approaches. All human life is there.
It's like the difference between twitchers and birders.
Yeah,
what's the twitcher go like? Look, get a phone call. There's there's a puffin.
False peregrine.
Run. So they all like go off like hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
Just to note it down in a book.
Right.
And then you got birders like me, who will be quite happy on my own, gently looking. Yeah. And taking it all in.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable analogy.
I like the Walton attitude, I think, of just being there, gently becoming part of something.
Yeah, he takes a young Venator, which I believe is a sort of an ingenue, and he takes him on this journey down the river and says, this is why you should delight in fishing. Really, not just for that. It's the pub over there and the frothy pint. Oh, look at the milkmaid, and the cowslips. It's all of that. So
yeah.
And he does capture it beautifully, and it reads quite well still, I think.
And the 18th century fisherman, was it very different? He must have had the same.
Well, they ate everything.
Oh, really?
They caught. Yeah, I mean the rivers were industrial revolution occurred, so all the rivers were pretty well unpolluted. There's no agricultural pollution, which is quite a bad thing now. There's less industrial pollution, but so ironically, a lot of the rivers cleaned up after the demise of heavy industry. But a lot of agricultural pollution takes place, and from the water companies, ironically. But in those days, they ate everything.
Isaac Walton, and then the other one would be J.R. Hartley from the Yellow Pages, I expect, is he?
It would be him, wouldn't it? Well, he's the one who's probably stuck most in the public consciousness, isn't he? Weirdly, a fictitious bloke for a Yellow Pages ad. Where's he now? And where's his Yellow Pages? We don't need him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so full circle. I'm going to go back to my first question, which you didn't answer.
It's like, very elusive.
If you're watching kids in comics and in the old films and that, they would pull out a rusty bicycle or a boot.
Yes.
From the river.
Okay.
Would that ever happen?
It's very unlikely. I've never seen a rusty bike or a boot being caught, but I did once catch a salmon with my feet.
A salmon?
Yeah, it's true. I was wading down the river, fishing for salmon, and I wasn't catching anything, and I felt this sort of thing around my feet, and I thought it was a stick or a rusty bicycle, perhaps. Bent down to extricate myself from it. It was some fishing line. I got hold of it like that, and there was a salmon on the end. And I got it. I let it go.
Alive?
I thought, very much alive. Yeah.
So someone had just lost it.
Yeah. And I gave it back its freedom.
I tickled a trout once.
Did you?
Honestly,
I've never seen it done, Jim.
I've done it. Honestly, I swear I did. I was at the Tees when I was a kid, and someone told me. I don't think my dad, because my dad used to go fly fishing a lot. You go under the bank where they hide.
Yeah, they do
and
hide.
You go slowly. That's the see one. Just tickle it very gently till it goes into its stupor.
A little torpor.
And then hook it out and throw it onto the bank in a swift movement.
Yeah. Apparently it's true. I've never done it, and I've never seen it done, but I have read many times. I've tickled a rusty bike out of the River Lee.
What about submarine? You ever fancied just going in a one-man submarine?
I'm a bit claustrophobic. I find that hell. And men in an enclosed space under the sea, please don't ever make me do that. It doesn't have to be with
men. I went with a bunch of women.
If I could go, if I knew it was, I wasn't going, I wasn't in the Navy, for example, And I was just going on an hour little trundle round, I'd enjoy that.
Yes.
But have you ever been in a glider?
No, I was just talking about that. Well, it's Gilson's birthday. He plays the drums with me.
Yeah, I know.
He wants to go for a glider ride for his birthday.
Yeah, I did it. It was horrible.
Why?
I loved the flying, but you're really strapped in tight, right? You can't really move very much. I don't like that. And the cockpit, the glass is there.
What's inches from your face?
An inch or two maximum from your face.
Couldn't do that.
And I hated it for that reason.
Was it silent or very noisy?
Very silent. The flying was amazing, but I just that experience is deeply unpleasant. Don't tell Gilson that. I let him find out for himself.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't do the MRI.
Really?
No, I couldn't get it. I said, get me out of it.
I just said, back on the Who's greatest hits, and I was fine.
You had the music in the MRI?
Yeah.
It's the fact that you got the tubes right in front of you. I couldn't take it. Get me out of here.
I didn't have any music. I loved every minute. I thought it was last. I can get 10 minutes peace and quiet.
Well, there is a little bit of that, but then it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes a noise like the Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
I thought they put that on. I didn't think it was real.
There's one process that I had to have for an MRI after a stent procedure. And they get you in the MRI like that, and they put this sort of lead thing on your chest. You can't move at all, and they pump a drug into you that gets your pulse racing. So you're there, and your pulse is racing, your heart's pumping away. The thing is there. I'm a boy. It's like, get me out of here.
I couldn't stand it. It's like some futuristic coffin.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for all your...
That's a fun way to end.
...thoughts.
From A-frame toilet to futuristic coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way forward.
Well, it's been a joyful ride for me, gentlemen.
It's
very
been
nice.
a great
Very nice
pleasure.
to see you both.
Pleasure and a privilege and lovely. And it was almost as gentle and as lovely as when you go fishing and you just take us into another world. So thank you so much.
Well,
thank you so much. Paul Whitehouse.
Thank you very much.
Well, there goes Paul.
In his gold Ford Zodiac.
Gold Ford Zodiac, made of solid gold, 24 karat gold, weighs a ton, with the number plate FLASH on the back.
What does that spell then?
This podcast was produced and edited by Molly Stewart.
Sound engineers were James Stewart and George Latham.